Black burns into blue, a match strikes, a mind lights. The movie opens as biography written like a countdown. Julius Robert Oppenheimer, student, theorist, teacher, becomes project, symbol, defendant. The structure runs on two tracks that keep overtaking each other. Fission, how a man builds a machine to end a war. Fusion, how the world he built fuses with politics and consumes him. The voiceover you're hearing should feel like lab notes and confession sharing the same page. First, a boy hungry for invisible rules. Cambridge, Göttingen, a mind faster than his hands, a temperament that oscillates between rapture and dread. He finds language for the universe in equations and poetry. He learns from masters Born, Heisenberg, Bohr, and gathers students the way gravity gathers dust. Los Alamos doesn't exist yet, but a certain kind of loneliness already does. Genius is only half the story, the other half is appetite for recognition, for control, for the clean relief of being right. War focuses appetite. News from Europe turns clean math into a dirty race. Einstein's letter, Fermi's piles, fear of a Nazi bomb all shove the theoretical into the practical. General Leslie Groves, bulldozer in uniform, hires the theoretician with a resume that would scare a security officer and a charisma that might make a town. The bargain is stark. Build a laboratory out of mesa and willpower, recruit the brightest, keep secrets that want to be told. Oppenheimer says yes with the particular conviction of men who believe history has finally given them a job worthy of their anxiety. Los Alamos rises, roads, barracks, chalkboards that never stay clean. The movie treats logistics as drama. Housing lists, badge gates, desert wind, the whistle of trains arriving with parts no one says aloud. Oppenheimer proves a new talent, architect of collaboration. He choreographs Teller's demands, Feynman's mischief, Beth's rigor. He flirts with impossibility and gets it to sit for a portrait. He also cultivates a personal mythology, hat, pipe, eyes that look corner first, because leaders in wartime must be symbols as well as engineers. The personal cost rides shotgun. Jean Tatlock, brilliant, volatile, the ache of a life that doesn't fit its era, anchors one gravitational well. Kitty, fierce, impatient with mediocrity, allergic to martyrdom, anchors another. The film refuses platitudes. Oppenheimer's capacity for intimacy matches his capacity for compartmentalization. He needs people, he needs distance. Both truths complicate his ethics then and later. Meanwhile, the bomb is not a single object but an ecosystem of problems. Gun type versus implosion. Uranium scarcity versus plutonium production. Neutron timing so exquisite the difference between fizzle and sun fits on the edge of a hair. The Manhattan Project's real hero is iteration. Calculations, conferences, arguments, 1,000 hands solving one problem from 1,000 angles. Oppenheimer becomes conductor more than soloist, the person who turns noise into music. Trinity is the note the score been writing toward. A tower in the Jornada del Muerto, a device named Gadget Baedeker for the end of a chapter. Storms taunt the schedule, weather is politics now. Groves wants a date, the war wants a result, the desert ignores both. A side calculation whispers a nightmare possibility, a chain reaction that ignites the atmosphere. Near zero, the math says, near is not zero, they proceed, they always would have. The bomb goes off like a new punctuation mark, the world learns a sound and a silence it will never forget. The film's genius is making awe and nausea coexist in the same frame. Victory follows like a press release. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, names that become arguments forever. In the control room, applause. In kitchens, relief over maps, lines move. Oppenheimer visits Washington and receives thanks that feel like blame delivered early. He sees the foe of a city turn to powder and hears, under the headlines, the first questions he will never stop hearing. Did we have to? Did you know? What did you want? His answer is complicated and unsatisfying. The science was beautiful, the cost is unbearable, the alternative might have been worse, our species rarely earns clean choices. Then the war ends and the real trial begins. In peacetime, the man who built the weapon becomes the man who worries about who will own it. He advocates for international control, for transparency, for a throttle on the engines he helped bolt to civilization. He underestimates how little poetry survives committee hearings. Lewis Strauss, patient, offended, talented at revenge, steps into the narrative as antagonist you recognize from every bureaucracy, the careerist who believes personal slights are policy. Security hearings are framed like court but feel like theater, the verdict was drafted before the curtain rose. The 1954 clearance hearing is not a courtroom, it's an administrative inquisition. Oppenheimer's past, leftist friendships, donations, a complicated history with the party becomes a net thrown backward over a life lived forward. Kitty refuses to perform shame. Colleagues arrive to divide themselves into cowards, loyalists, and the conflicted. The board speaks in passive voice. Oppenheimer tries to answer in full paragraphs, the system only designed to hold slogans. It doesn't matter. The machine gets what it came for, reputational fission. His clearance is revoked. His usefulness recalibrated from architect of victory to cautionary tale. Parallel, a different hearing runs in higher polish, Strauss's confirmation to the cabinet. The film intercuts fission black and white, procedural with fusion color memory until cause and consequence overlay. Strauss wants a legacy that writes Oppenheimer small. He gets a lesson instead. People who play long games with truth often discover that truth belongs to more witnesses than expected. Testimony lands like delayed explosions, scientists telling the senator what it felt like to be led by a mind on fire, not a saboteur. Strauss learns the public can measure pettiness even when dressed as national security. Beneath the politics, the metaphysics never stop chewing. Boers smile through the ash. Einstein by the pond, speaking about ripples and storms with the patience of a man who has already been misunderstood for 50 years. The film keeps returning to that walk by the water, two men who changed the world and forfeited the right to be ordinary in it. The line everyone remembers, "I believe we did," lands not as triumph or confession but as inventory. The chain reaction wasn't only physical. What does responsibility look like after first light? For Oppenheimer, it becomes a life of speeches that say less than they mean, quiet honors that taste like penance, students who inherit the problem dressed in different acronyms. He is neither villain nor saint. He is a man who finally understood that brilliance solves puzzles and creates new ones with equal grace. The country that used him celebrates and scolds him in cycles. He keeps showing up, smaller in official spaces, larger in the only measure that lasts, the size of the question you carry. The film refuses a neat moral because history refused it first. It offers instead a series of images that behave like arguments you must finish yourself. A hand hovering above a detonator. A wife squeezing her husband back into his spine. A hearing room where the microphone picks up everything except the point. A chalkboard erased and ray-filled. A desert that remembers the shape of a flame that was also a morning. A face looking at a world no one had seen and realizing the price of novelty. We end where the story wants, not with an explosion but with a dossier, the stubborn record of choices that can't be unmade and the people who made them. Oppenheimer remains what he always was, a mind trying to square two incompatible claims, beauty and consequence. The bomb still casts light and shadow across every brief we file about war, deterrence, and trust. If you came for absolution, the film deprives you. If you came for language to hold the contradiction, it gives you plenty to practice.